Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday. We're skipping lesson 25. That was more of a repeat of lesson 24, so we're going right into lesson 26. Tomorrow will be lesson 27, and Thursday and Friday we'll be showing our skills in an assessment. I'm doing them in person this time instead of at home on Wednesday. So, Alpha, when you come in on Thursday, you'll be taking that assessment. Omega, when you come in on Friday, you'll be taking that assessment. I'll have some enrichment activities to do when you're not with me. Um, Distance learners, you can choose when you do the test, Thursday or Friday. Uh, for me, I'd like to get things out of the way, so I'd like to do it right on as soon as I can so that I have the rest of the time for myself. But I will also have enrichment activities for you to do after you complete the assessment or before if you want to get some extra practice. So let's get going with today. Oh, also, I'm an elf. Again today, I don't have reindeer outfits, but I enjoy being an elf. So let's go ahead and minimize my face and let's get into the math. So here we are. Let's take a look at these two math problems I already started. Now, what do you notice? And I'll give you a second to think about it. Well, let me just highlight some things that I notice. I see the quotient is exactly the same. I see the remainder is the exact same. But is the math problem the exact same? No. So the question I have for you that I want you to think about, if the quotient and the remainder are the same, are these two math problems equivalent? Are they equal? Well, up to the ones place they are. But my question that I'm going to ask you now is there any place, digit, value, I mean, not digit, is there any place or value that is smaller than ones? Yeah, and then now we're talking decimals, right? So we got our tenths, hundredths, thousands, but the one that's right next door to the ones is our tenths. So we could decompose. So let's see if they're equivalent by decomposing into the tenths. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put my oh, I don't want the highlighter tool. Let me change back to my pen tool. And I'll use green. So I'm going to put my decimal and put a tenths place there. And now I have another digit to bring down. But the thing is, I also want to take my decimal because if I think about this, this is 2 tens, this is 8 ones. So now I need my decimal if we're going to decompose into the tenths place, right? So let's bring our 0 down. So now we're working with 80 tenths divided by 32. Well, I know that I can take three of them would be over 90. So I know I can take two of those, and that would be 64. And I can regroup to make sure I'm getting accurate. So I have a remainder of 16 now. So I have 28 and 2 tenths with a remainder of 16. Okay, well, let's see if that's what happens over on the other one when we decompose into the tenths place. So once again, I'm just going to go ahead and give it my tenths place. I'm going to show my decimal place up in the quotient as well. Now I'm going to bring my digit down. Again, I'm working with 80. How many 16s can I take out of 80? Well, two of them would be 32. Three would be 48. Four would be 64. So I was doing that in my head. So I'm going to do four of them. 64. Oh, and if actually I think about it, I can take five. And that will give me exactly 80. So now I have to ask you, because these are no longer accurate, my new quotient is 28.2 with a remainder of 16. And over here, our quotient is 28.5 with a remainder of 0. So my question is, are these equivalent now that we've decomposed even further down into smaller place values? Well, no, 28.5 is definitely more. It's greater than 28.2. They both have the same whole numbers. They both have 28, and sometimes I like converting it to money. They both have $28. One has 50 cents, the other has 20 cents. So sometimes for my brain, it's easier to compare money. All right, so that's how we're going to work on if we have to decompose into the smaller units. But sometimes we can just work with decimals right inside of the math problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at this problem. So let's do 834.6 divided by 26. Now we're going to go ahead and put our dividend inside of our den. So 834.6. Now, all of last week, we were doing 3-digit and 4-digit numbers. Well, guess what? This is a 4-digit number, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It just has a decimal, and sometimes decimals look scary, but all we're going to do with it is, because we know that our quotient also lines up with those place values above the long division symbol. Sorry. So we know that our decimal is going to line up as well. So we're just going to place it there and be ready for it. Now we can kind of just work through this math problem like we were doing last week. Just digit by digit, working from the largest place value down. Well, if I think about just 8, I can't take that and divide it into 26 groups, but 83, I definitely can. 3 25s would be 75. Well, 26 is one more than 25, so it'd be 78. So I'm going to use 3 26s, and that will give me 70. Well, let me change my color because that's going to disappear in that highlighter. Is 78. And let me just prove my mental math to you. 3 times 6, or 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So now I can regroup, making sure that my top's ready so I can accurately subtract and get my remainder. And this is what I was talking about. We make sure that everything lines up. That's why we can place the decimal right away. All right, so now we just keep working through like we've been practicing all week last week. Just bring this next digit down, 54. Well, I know 2 26s is 52, so I'm going to use 2 of them. Gives me a remainder of 2. You don't have to bring the decimal down. That will just get too messy because our decimal's already waiting for us up top. So don't worry about the decimal. Don't bring it down. Just work on the next digit. Well, 26 is exactly what I'm looking for, so that I know I can do one group. So there we are. Our quotient now is 32.1. Our remainder is 0. And now we can still do a check. We can still do quotient times remainder. Wow, I messed that up. What should I have said? Not quotient times remainder, quotient times divisor plus our remainder, which is 0. Well, I don't know what 32.1 times 26 is, so I have to set it up. Always set up the one that has the most digits on top because that makes life a little easier. 19, let me scroll down, place my 0 here. 2, 4, 6, add it up, 6, 4, 13, 8, 8,346, but I know that was tenths because of that, so I know that I have to replace that with 1 digit behind it, and that's exactly what I started with. Perfect. Let's do one more together. This time the problem will go into the hundreds, and we'll work from there. And then we'll go to our problem set. So let me clear this, and let's get rolling with this. Let me scroll up so make sure I have enough room on my page. And this time we're going to work on 48 and 36 hundredths divided by 39. Again, we put the dividend inside of the den. And then what we can do, just because we know we're working with the decimal, go ahead and place the decimal already above it for us. And then let's get working. Well, 4 can't divide into 39 groups, but 48 can. So I'm going to take one group of 39 outside of that, regroup my top to make sure that I'm accurately getting my remainder. Remember, we've already placed our decimal in our quotient, so we do not need to bring that down. That'll just make everything a little confusing. let's just keep working because now it's not, we're kind of shifting it into unit form when we do that. It's 93 what? Well, it's 93 tenths. So 93, I think we can take two groups of 39 out. Let's just double check. 78, yeah. So we're going to take two groups, 78. Let me scroll down so I can subtract a little bit. Make sure I regroup to get the top ready. Have a remainder of 15. I know that was the accurate amount of groupings because it's smaller than my divisor, so I'm going to keep working. Bring my next digit down, 156. Ooh, okay. Well, I know 39 is close to 40, and it's one away from 40, right? So I know four groups of 40 would get me 160. 39 is one less than 40, so if I take one less four times, that's four. So I'll just subtract that off of 160. That is 156. So I could do that mental math. I know that there's four groups. Let me just prove it to myself to make sure. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 more is 15, yeah. So I like to challenge my brain. I was trying to talk you through how my brain works, but then I also just quickly do the multiplication just to make sure my brain wasn't off. I challenge you to do the same. So I have a 0 remainder. That means we're done. We know our quotient is equal to 1.24. That's how I write it. How I say it is 1 and 24 hundredths, a remainder of 0. Well, now we can just do our quotient times divisor check, right? 1.24 times 39 and then plus remainder. But I don't know what 1.29 or one, I can't even read my 4 right. It's 1.24 times 39. Remember, put the top, largest number of digits on top. 4 times 9 is 36, 18. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 2 more is 11. Then I can go ahead and bring down my 0 for my tens place. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more. 3 times 1. So I'm going to add it over here because I ran out of space. 6, 3, 8, 4, 4, 8, 3, 6. I then need to think about where my decimal placement is. Well, there's 2 digits behind the decimal there. Let me go ahead and place that back in there. Oops, I didn't want the highlighter tool. Let me place that back in there, and that's exactly what we started with. So we are now done. All right. You are now going to shift into your problem set and go ahead and practice what we've just done. Let me just quickly look and give you, you can do the first 2 pages. You don't have to do question 4 and 5. So first 2 pages, and I'll cut off the last 2 word problems. So go ahead and get started. I'll also post the answers. Let me know if you need my support. Have a great day.